Good evening, Dr. Joy, classmates. This is my informative speech. Tonight I would like to talk to you about my experiences from several years of traveling abroad to my favorite destination. Can you name the place as it looked in 1970? Looks like an island. Here's a current picture of it from Google Earth. You can see it's highly developed now. That's right, I'm talking about Cancun. While we're on this slide here, let me explain a little bit to you about Cancun Airport. Probably applies to a lot of airports. First, when you're traveling, watch what you're packing. Check the U.S. regulations. Check the destination of where you're going to make sure those regulations match. Nothing worse than arriving in a foreign country and finding out you have something in your suitcase you're not supposed to have. Secondly, don't know about all airports, but I know I've been to two overseas, Cancun included, that once you get out of the immigration and customs areas, you have to leave the exit and they have a hallway that you have to travel down to get outside. Well, there's a lot of nice people lining these hallways on both sides, especially in Cancun, that'll be really helpful to you and try to offer you the world. But unless you want to go spend 4 hours of your vacation listening to them try to talk you into a timeshare or a vacation rental, I would suggest you keep your head down and walk fast for the front door. That's where you're going to find the taxis or the service that you've hired to transport you to your hotel. I would highly recommend that instead of taking a taxi. That way you know there's somebody standing there with a card with your name on it saying, "Here I am." You walk up, you hand them your luggage, you get in the car, and you go. Makes life a whole lot easier than trying to figure it out once you get there. Alright, now let's talk a little bit more. 1974, the first hotel was built called Playa Blanca. Prior to that, there was only 3 people living in Cancun. That's right, it was a farm, there was nobody there. This is a view of the current hotel called Temptations, owned by the same people, but it has gone through a few name changes and a few renovations since then, and still a fairly nice hotel. It's not a 5-star. They listed as 3.5 to 4, but still a gorgeous hotel. Next, let's talk about things to do while you're in Cancun, Mexico. There's a lot of things to do no matter what you're into. For example, you can take a jungle tour. Now, I've been on this. It's fun. You take little 2-man speedboats. You ride out through the mangroves, through what they call the jungle area. You go out to the reef. You spend a little while out there snorkeling. You turn around. You come back through the mangroves a different direction, back to where you started. It takes 3 to 4 hours. Very fun thing to do. Or there's actually an island out just off the coast of Cancun that is called Isla Majura. It's a nice island to visit. It's sort of a tourist destination. You can actually stay on this island. There are hotels there, but it's a lot of shops, a lot of things to do. You can actually rent a golf cart, spend the whole day out there. They have ferries that travel back and forth every day to take you out there, weather permitting. Or you can go visit downtown Cancun, where the locals hang out. This is actually a view of the street in front of my friend's apartment that lives down there. There's also the nightlife to take into consideration. You can take a dinner cruise on one of the pirate ships. You can see a show at Coco Bongos. You can go to Carlos and Charlie's, also known as Senior Frogs, same restaurant. Fun place, they have them all over. Even have one down here in Myrtle Beach, or you can just go hang out with your friends at a local bar and have something to eat. Next, I want to talk to you about the staff. I know a lot of people go to resorts, hotels, they ignore the people that work there. Very bad thing to do, especially when you're traveling an area you do not know. These guys are your best source of information. So you want to get to know them. Here's a picture of 3 of the bartenders that we know from the hotel. And there's a reason for that. If you'll notice in this picture, there's 10, including myself, taking the picture. 5 of those are actually hotel staff members. We took them out one night, got something to eat, had a few beers, really enjoyed ourselves, and they took us to a place that you wouldn't find on any tourist map. It was their local hangout, and that, if that's the sort of thing you're looking for, something I would highly recommend you do. Ask the staff, where's a good place to go? Where do y'all go? If you really want to see what the local life is like, talk to the staff. They'll know. And there's a good thing. In the picture behind, the last picture, the guy in the very back of the table happened to be the restaurant manager for the hotel we were staying at. Very handy person to know to buy a few drinks for if you're trying to get a romantic dinner set up on the beach for your wife with limited space. Alright, now let's talk about doing your research before you go. This is a website, Cancun Care. I'm sure there's others for just about any location that you could imagine that may or may not be similar. This one's a fairly popular one. I think there's 30,000 members on this site right now, or more. And what you can see here on the bottom of the screen, hopefully you can read it. It says we already got 756 on the list. That was the list of people from this website that were going to be at the resort in Cancun in May. I don't know about you, but when I'm traveling, especially when I'm traveling abroad, it's awful nice to know that I have got at least a couple of people I know by name and know by face when I get to the hotel. I mean, it's just nice to have to walk up to the pool and have somebody holler out your name like they've known you for years, and vice versa. And at the same rate, if you make another trip down to the hotel, at least this hotel, I'm assuming based on my experience from the local bars and restaurants down there that we frequent a lot, most of the staff will remember you from year to year. Now, what's the worst thing that can happen if you join in on the fun? You see right here, this is a phone party that they have at the resort, held during the day. It was a lot of fun. Most of the resorts, no matter where you go, will have an activity staff, and they actually have planned activities. My advice to you, join in. Like I says, join in on the fun. What's the worst that can happen? Well, that's the worst that can happen at this resort. You'll have the time of your life, but if you'll notice, that's me on the right hand side after losing a game of crazy darts. I would suggest highly that you find out how good your teammate is before you agree to do partners on a dart game, especially when there's consequences like this. The other benefit from paying attention to the staff, these are 2 of the staff members at the hotel. You'll make lifelong friends. Don't be afraid to talk to them. They're just as normal as you are. They work hard. They're here to make your life fun. And if they have a little fun doing it, that's all the better. Thank you, and have a good evening.